You get there early. If you got to travel, get there the day before. Whatever you do, don't be fucking late. You get there the day before, and you're there half an hour beforehand. You get in to see them, and then we're going to take it from there. Go up to the assistant. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate this. Give her candy or some shit. Maybe based on what you've been telling me, give her a roll of condoms. I don't know what the fuck you give her. Then the meeting starts. They let you in. Hi, Mr. Doofus. My name's Dan Peña. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a very busy guy. It's funny how, people that both went to the London School of Economics would be in similar areas. I know that they better, okay, that's how you start. And he will say, how can I help you? Or words to that effect. Okay, and in Britain, they're very polite to begin with. They're very polite. They won't treat you like in New York or one of those, those less educated, less formal places. They'll treat you nicely. So to the extent that you guys are in Britain, it's not an uphill battle. Once you get in the office, they'll be cordial. They'll be cordial. So you don't have to worry about some of the other things in other parts of the world that I've experienced. And they said, well, I'm in the process of putting together a board of directors for a great business opportunity, and I wanted to know if you would be interested and contemplate being my chairman. And he'll look at you, never met you before, and this is providing he hasn't asked, what do you want to see me about? Normally it's a business opportunity. And he says, well, how did you pick me? Why me? Is normally what they'll ask. And you'll say, well, your background, 28 years as such and such, managing director of this, on this board, that board, been involved in 3 IPOs, on the board of the London Stock Exchange. You go through briefly. So you got to know your fucking homework. You got to know about the guy. You got to know to push his success buttons. On the one hand, you're not doing anything disingenuous. You're just highlighting his success because that's why you're there to talk to the guy. You're there because he has a track record. You don't tell him you don't have any track record, but that's why he has a track record. He'll be able to tell by looking at you because the executive summary, the thing that you did send him, will have your CV. I forgot to mention that. Now, in some of your cases, Henry, the CV wouldn't say much. So we'll wait a little while. But I mean, everybody else, like I told you, I went to Cornell, a pre-med honors graduate. But you put your best foot forward. You don't puff it. You don't lie. You tell the truth. And in your particular case, you can trick fuck them. Air Force Academy, captain of this, football, okay. And then they won't know until they meet you. It's too late by then. See, they've already let you in the door. So you put your best foot forward. Your best foot forward. When you're LinkedIn, when you track these guys down, if you were in the military, like Monty and I, you look for military guys. And if you're lucky, like I found that Marion refining guy who was a retired 1-star general who went to OCS, same place I did, you hone in. You hone in on where you have the most affinity. Schools, military background, skiing, whatever. And you don't hone in on your poverty, or you don't hone in on your lack of money. Some of these guys will have come up the hard way, but most of the establishment in Britain didn't come up the hard way. Most of them went to good schools. Most of them have pedigree of some sort or another. There's nothing wrong with that. When I was young, I was just jealous because I didn't have any. But and he said, "Well, I'm not sure. I'm busy. I have other commitments. What's my time commitment?" If he starts asking questions about what you really want him for, you set the hook, because he's trying to figure out, is this James that looks like a doofus, really worth my time? And he may ask, how did you get past my secretary? I know a lot of guys that used to ask me that. How did you get past my secretary? because she's supposed to, she's like a vampire out there. And I says, well, I just told them such and such, and, we went to the same university, and we've got a similar background. And they used to laugh at me and say, similar background? I sit on the New York Stock Exchange, and I'm on the board of Harvard. I mean, what do we got in common? Well, you went to OCS at Fort Benning, Georgia in 1957. I went to OCS at Fort Benning, Georgia. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, and that's how I get over that. So back they say, well, I'm really busy. Exactly what do you want? Again, what is it? Chairman? Chairman of what? And then you refresh his memory, because he may not have read it. You refresh his memory and you say, this is my idea. It's a deal to save the world, whatever it is. It's solar this. It's a vision of this. Whatever. You tell him what it is, succinctly as you possibly can. He will then ask, if he's still interested, what kind of time commitment? The time commitment, in the beginning, he'll probably first ask, do we have a company formed yet? And you'll probably say no, yet to be named. And they says, well, what kind of time commitment is it? And then if he starts burrowing down, is it an LLC? Is it this? Is it that? That's because he's got some interest. And then he'll say, what kind of time commitment? Now say 3 or 4 times a year the first year. And he'll say whether he can handle that or he can't. And you'll say, we'll have board meetings in the beginning vis-a-vis Zoom or Skype. But then once we're capitalized, you want to beat him to the punch about money. You don't want him to ask you about the money. We're not capitalized yet, so we're forming the board. We'd like to call it a dream team. You're the first person I've talked to about the chairman position. So he'll either like the cut of your jib, meaning the way you look, not like an angry black man, or he won't. If he won't, he'll have you escorted out. If he asks you, would you like a cup of tea or a cup of coffee? You're in like Flynn. That, in the old days, that's Earl Flynn, because he used to get more ass than a toilet seat. You're in like Flynn. Okay. And he may say, I'm really busy now. Is there something you can leave me? Well, I said, I've already given a copy of the executive summary to your assistant, but here's another copy. And you give it to him. What you want to hear from him at the end is, well, I'm not sure, but if I could add value and I have no conflicts, I might be interested. That's what you want to hear. If I can add value and if I don't have conflicts, I might be interested. And that means you've had a successful first meeting. Now, of course, the other way, the best way is I tell Robert to call Cambridge Clive, our CFO, who got run over by Stephen Hawkins, and who's a well-known financial guy. And there's a higher probability, because I know this guy, or you know somebody that knows this guy, to get in the door. But that first presentation I gave is cold, out of LinkedIn. Now, in Britain, most people, that are in business, they've got a brother-in-law, they've got a lawyer, they know somebody that knows somebody. Okay? And a third-party referral is always easier. But I'm telling you, practice cold. Hone your skills cold. And you'll do much, much better.
So even if you know someone,
yeah,
it's cold still.
It's still cold, because then you need to practice on your communication skills. You need to get more slick. Yes, sir.
How are you going to find out the acquisitions?
Okay, well, he says, okay, well, you haven't even got to the acquisition model yet, or the mode. When he looks at the executive summary, it's going to say, words to the effect, we are going to acquire a fragmented industry, low-hanging fruit. And here you may ask, what's low-hanging mean? Low-hanging means more easily accessible and more easily financed. He'll say, well then, speaking of finance, how are we going to finance them? What's your plan? And the plan is through primary commercial debt, equity, and vendor financing, meaning the seller is going to finance part of the deal. Now, he'll understand that probably better than you. And
Primary commercial debt.
equity and vendor financing, meaning seller, make it seller financing. That's easier. Seller financing. Normally, an asset, you're buying a manufacturing company, for example, they'll give you 60 to 80% against the assets, 20 to 40% debt, or excuse me, 20% debt, and then there's still a 20% remainder. Where are we going to get the 20% remainder? You're going to get it because Monty's selling and he's going to take 20% of the paper back like on that building. He's going to take seller financing. And it's not unusual to be able to finance a deal for more than 100% when you have those that combination. Commercial, equity, and seller financing. One of the keys to QLA financing is you can do it 100% of the purchase price. Everybody tells you, where are you going to get the 20% equity? Where are you going to get the 40% equity? Well, the truth of the matter is, the equity portion, you don't have to come up with all the equity from an equity lender or an equity investor, because the seller, we're going to look for what? Remember what kind of sellers? Motivated sellers. Sadly, you want them 55 to 65, sick. The woman spitting up blood from emphysema, and the husband just had a stroke. I'm being sarcastic, so YouTube, fuck you, don't give me any shit with a bunch of emails. But you want a motivated seller. That their sons and daughters don't want to have anything to do with the business. They've got nobody to leave the company to. And that's who we look for, our initial acquisitions. Motivated sellers, low-hanging fruit. Or as they say in the Philippines, fruits. Low-hanging fruits. And the first presentation you make will be disjointed, blah, 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 because you're not smooth at it. But by the second or third, you'll be smooth as baby shit. You'll be like diarrhea flowing out the little bum. You'll be really good. And we'll do more of these. I'll do more of these. And I'll interface, because I'm trying to be both sides of the thing now. And, it may be confusing or sound disjointed.
Challenges. When you're practicing, I'm sure a few people will say yes. A few people will say yes the second tier. And then later on, Mr. Peña will say, okay, I want it. How do you tell that person?
Oh, okay. Well, no, you don't accept him as chairman of the second tier and then kick his ass out when you don't do that. You don't do that. You don't. You don't offer him the position, and no Englishman is going to say yes in the first two meetings. He's going to want to know more about you. He's going to go to lunch, take you to his club. Is there a reform club in London? Take you to the reform club, financial capital club that like I'm a member of in London. So it's not, you're going to have time. You're going to have time. It's not just going to be, like a 500-pound hooker at the fucking, what's the hotel that's of Kings and Queens? No, fuck, I can't think of it. No. All those got 500-pound hookers too, but I can't think of the one right now. Anyway, so it's not going to happen overnight. And you'll gain confidence, and and when you go out to, even though you want to take them to lunch, not them take you to lunch. But some of them, if they like you, they'll take you to their club. The Oxford, Cambridge Club, or I think that's the name, Oxford Cambridge Club, yeah. And so, yes.
Yeah, anyone in London, if you want to take someone to a good place, which is not supposed to look really nice, Scarf Bar. I do all my meat to that Scarf. It's a great place to take somebody.
Okay.
Really, really nice.
Okay, YouTubers, thank you.